I'm right on time. It's 6:30. That's weird. Usually I'm a little late or a little early. All right, so market's open. We got stocks here. We have stocks here and more stocks up here. MongoDB leading the pack. Whoop whoop. Yesterday was not a fruitful day for MongoDB, it looks like. What's up, Rob? Ah, water is good. All right, so market open. How you doing, Rob? Sorry I wasn't here yesterday. I stayed up way too late the night before. Just decided to sleep in. So you don't like it,
I do, but it's too much.
huh?
I do, but it's a lot too much.
Okay, can you take it back, please? I heated up and put butter on it. Thank you. All right, so MongoDB leading the pack, not by much, only 3%. Rolling to work. I see you rolling. I'm hating. I'm not hating, Rob. All right, let's go look at, I don't know, pretty much we've just been watching gold, NASDAQ, and GE. Hopefully that thing will fail to $1. Whoa, and it's on its way to going down to a $1. Though I'm not sure it's going to do that by September 20th. But we shall see. We shall see. Definitely off to a good start this morning. NASDAQ down 0.45% as usual, gapping up a little, or I should say moving up a little in the overnight session. Really appears to want to roll over. You know, if you're still thinking of shorting this market, I don't think this is a horrible place to do it. But starting to get away from a horrible place to do it, or getting away from a not horrible place to do it. Starting to move more towards a bad place to start shorting. You know, I had the perfect short about a week ago, or a perfect short. Not saying the perfect short. It was one of them, though. It was one of them. I had a couple good shorts in this market, but I'm done with that now. So 0.56 down for the NASDAQ. Starbucks still holding on strong. Man, this Starbucks chart just makes me very, very happy. Very, very happy. Maybe one day you'll be able to actually make a move if the market will let it. But the way the market... So I was listening to NPR yesterday, and if you're political and hate NPR, you need to rethink what you're thinking, because they're not a fully left-wing leaning network, at least not in Arizona. They give a tremendous amount of information. And one of the things that they discussed is how China is such a growth industry for so many U.S. businesses. And they played a snippet of the Starbucks conference call where they said we'll be able to build stores in China for many, many, many years to come aggressively. So I think that's exactly what you're seeing here with the Starbucks story. They mentioned that KFC sells more chicken in China than they do in the United States. So I think some careful consideration has to be had with the China story, because they also said that their middle class is bigger than our entire population. So what did the United States do when their middle class started booming after World War II? Some of the best stock markets in history. You got, you know, the 60s, the 80s, and the 90s. What are you going to do? What are you going to do after that? I mean, just tons and tons of money there. So fortunately, some of the U.S. companies are involved in the China story. Because I was trying to think how to play China, and it's hard to play China directly. I'm not even sure if you're legally able to own Chinese stocks directly in China, since you're not a Chinese citizen. In the same way, it's hard to open up a U.S. brokerage account if you're not a U.S. citizen. There's probably ways to do it, but it's a little convoluted, and I'm not sure if I completely trust my money in the Chinese system, although maybe it wouldn't be bad to diversify a little bit. Um, anyway, but if you look at the Starbucks story, this goes back 2006, 7, 8. So coming out of the financial crisis, we were down here about $5. Now we're at about $100. So from $5 to $100, that's a 20-fold increase in Starbucks in 10 years. And they're saying they're going to be able to grow faster in China. And with KFC selling more chicken in China, if coffee's just as popular, then this growth here, if you look at the growth here, I wonder if I put this on a log chart. That'll probably make things a little more. Okay, so even using a log chart, you can see here the growth in the past year, at least what Starbucks is seeing, versus all of this. Even right here it's even more vertical than this right here, which is odd enough. So what you have is Starbucks, a company being in China in tremendous fashion and just growing exponentially apparently in China. So there's going to be a lot of companies like that from the U.S. going into China. Not all of them are going to succeed. Like Google obviously has not made headway because they're a digital company and China needs to control the digital world. So that's a no-go. That's a non-starter for Google, as we've already found out. But something like food isn't necessarily that bad. And so you can assume that it's probably going to continue to work out in these companies' favor, especially as they already have economies of scale and distribution plans and can't think of words this morning, but they've got all these systems in place and systems and practices in place that really give them a competitive advantage. So Starbucks could be a direct play into China is kind of what I'm trying to say indirectly. So I think maybe something good to do since the market is, doing market stuff. We can do a watch list. I was going to write it down, but I'm like, hey, welcome to the digital world. A watch list of China growth stories. And we can put Starbucks right here at the top. Well, I'm actually going to start looking into it here, Rob, just to be honest with you. I'm like, you know what? I actually don't know the full story. I was listening to NPR yesterday. That is such a good station. Honestly, I used to listen to a station called KUPD, which was a rock and roll station, and the morning show there is really hilarious. They're the funniest thing. They're better than Howard Stern, to be honest with you. Just this local show in Arizona. They've asked these guys to go national. They won't do it. They're like, yeah, I don't want to go national. It's too much headache. We'll just sit here, make $250,000 a year, and live a happy life. They're super, super cool guys. And, yeah, like when Howard Stern was on the come up, these guys came up shortly thereafter, and they would probably be, they'd be nationally syndicated. They're extraordinarily good, but they're only on for a little bit of time, so I don't get to listen to them very much. They're actually on when I do my power hour and stuff, so it's kind of hard for me to listen to them. So I did that for a long time, and after that was as I got older and stopped really caring so much about music, I started listening to KTAR, which is kind of the local talk station, and it's pretty good. It's kind of the only game in town. And then I just turned to NPR, and the breadth of content. Yeah, I do have their podcast. I do actually. It's hard. I don't know. It's not the same. I'm an old guy. I'm used to turning on the radio. Yeah, their podcast is good though. It's hilarious. But sometimes the context is lost because they're a scripted show, but they're not massively scripted. Like I said, they're just real people. I've actually been to their houses, one of their houses before. The lead guy, super cool guy. Anyway, their show kind of, flows. If you listen to most of the show, it's a 4-hour show. Can't listen to the whole thing, but um, you do miss some context. You do miss some context. Anyway, so there's that. But the if you're scientifically minded, if you like stuff like science and thinking critically and different various topics, NPR just covers all that. It's so awesome. So awesome. So anyway, I want to look at Starbucks growth in China. Starbucks growth in China. What's up, Eli? Buy everything? I don't know about buy everything, but you can buy everything that's gold and silver, apparently. We haven't been talking about silver at all, and apparently that's a bigger story than gold is. All right, so what we are talking about is China's exponential growth and seeing how we can potentially take take a part of that for ourselves. So I found this article. On CNBC from January. Key points: slowing economic growth in China has hit Apple and McDonald's, but Starbucks said it isn't worried. We continue to play the long game in China, says Starbucks CEO. The coffee giant reported same-store sales growth of 1% during its first quarter. So let's look for some numbers. Starbucks, here's a chart. Starbucks, there we go. Same-store sales growth in China, we have 8 and then 1%, 1%. So they're fairly neutral over here, looks like, as they expand. Any more charts, or is that it? Okay, Starbucks increased its number of locations by 18% to 3,700 stores. Now it operates in 158 cities in the country. New stores are highly profitable. We think they're comfortable and confident in the strategy that we have in China. So we already missed the first leg of this story, it looks like, which you just saw in the chart. China is the fastest growing market. There we go. Let's keep an eye on some stuff here. NASDAQ down 0.6%. Okay, so let's look for articles in the past month here. Oh, Motley Fool has an article. Where will Starbucks be in 5 years? This may be a good one. Doing some of the research for us. Expansion in China, with its largest and most profitable market experiencing tepid growth. Starbucks will look increasingly to China as its primary growth driver. Starbucks is opening new restaurants in China at an aggressive pace. 600 stores annually, one every 15 hours. My goodness. So they have 3,900 stores in China. How many do they have in the U.S.? 7,000. So yeah, their stores are going to double quickly here. Okay. So, yeah, pretty good there for Starbucks. Yeah, right. Trump's like, wait a minute. U.S. is supposed to be the fastest growing market, even though we're the most mature market in the world. Fastest growing and most mature and the best looking. Companies growing fastest into China. Oh, GE bouncing this morning. Coming back. Wow, they came back pretty strong there. See if it's able to hold up into that. No, this is a list of Chinese companies. I want a list of U.S. companies growing in China. U.S. companies growing in China. What's this? Congressional Research Service from 2 months ago. All right, we're going to read this guy letter for letter, page for page. It's only 38 pages long. Oh, that's actually not too bad. I thought it was like 300 pages long. That's funny. Let's look for some points here. Okay, real GDP growth. Slowing down a little bit here, which has been the tune for a little bit. As we try to move away from a manufacturing sector into a more service economy. U.S. and China's annual real GDP growth rates. So they're saying China dipped under. Oh, they're gonna China U.S. and China's gonna dip under the U.S. by 20 years from now, if they keep on that same trajectory. But they're not gonna let that happen. Average monthly wages for China, Mexico, and Vietnam. Chinese data on top 10 sources of something. I don't know. Somehow, I, I, I feel a little weird saying this, but somehow I don't trust a government document being put out to say something good about China in 2019. Somehow I just don't trust that. Let's look at a Forbes list. All right, that's annoying. Narrated by Randy. Narrated by Randy. With an occasional cursing outburst. That'd be hilarious. Should do a Tourette's Audible channel. That would be funny. It was the best of times. It was fuck worst of times. I think that'd be hilarious. All right, so hold on. All right, so kind of same old, same old. Looks like gold pulling in a little bit here, as we're not very news laden today, apparently. Brazilian stocks too. Is that still a thing? Isn't Brazil like crazy economy? Crazy. Wow. Search Brazil stocks. What's the? Oh, here we go. Brazilian stock market. BOVESPA. Bovespa. Look at a chart of the Bovespa. Let's look at a monthly chart of the Bovespa. Although I'm not sure if we can get one up here. It doesn't look like I can put Bovespa up here. Brazil? Brazil Minerals. Oh, the Brazil ETF, EZW. Still stuck in a fairly long downtrend, 102 back in 2008, and then back down at 39 right now, so kind of going in the wrong direction on that one. So GLD coming in a little bit, down 0.38%. The overnight session, it did tank. If you look at the gold futures, it had a big rout of selling yesterday. Brought us all the way back down to this 1542 level. Tanking this morning. I'm not sure why that is. News.google. Google News. Yeah, news.google.com. Dorian will hit Florida as a Category 2 hurricane. Oh, there you go. Take the land. President Trump wants a border wall. He wants it black, and he wants it by Election Day. No way. All right, let's look at China tariffs. I don't know. Nothing really much in the news feed there. News about counterfeit gold. Is that a real thing? They just trade the chart. They don't actually trade the physical gold. That's funny. Piece of garbage. For real? Where's that? Let me search for the past 24 hours. Fake branded bars slip dirty gold into world markets. That was 7 hours ago. Yeah, that's the article I found too. I'll post it. That's funny. It looks like going back to 2017. Cut the gold with tungsten during the smelting process, huh? I'll have to get out my tungsten next time I smelt my next gold. Hmm. Interesting. This whole gold thing's very interesting. So what they're saying is that, let me show you guys the article here. So I guess that's what they did. That's, I don't know what that is. Is that a sticker or a hole in the gold? I can't quite figure it out. What's a validator system? So kilobars are small, the size and thickness of a cell phone. I don't think iron pyrite's dense enough. You'd have to use like a lead or something like that. Wrap it in gold. Huh. Southeast Asia, they use it for a lot of big purchases, apparently. Almost all exports of gold are banned as part of the country's strict, long-standing controls on capital movement in China. Wow. That was a long article. Long article. Hmm. So interesting. I'm not sure if that's exactly what's dumping the markets today. But you can see on the daily chart, it's not really causing a lot of havoc. Just looks like a really big bar, right there. So probably just some profit taking, I would assume. But that is interesting. I was wondering a method. I'm like, can you just take a big old bar of gold and fill the middle with lead? It'd be pretty fun, right? Rob with an Armageddon reference from 15 years ago. All right, actually, it probably has more to do with the Nasdaq rallying for whatever reason back to almost flat. You bounced up pretty quick there. GE bouncing up to flat too. Finding a little bit of support down there at that 7 whatever level. Yeah, right there. Pretty much almost an exact double bottom with where we were the other day. That other low is going to be a little lower. That spike low 7.65. That was a great movie, yeah. I agree. So we'll see if we're able to get up higher or not on GE. MDCO been a recent winner and looks like it's continuing its win streak. It wasn't earnings the other day, it was some news, or I forget what it was. Oh, the phase 3 clinical trial that went positive. And then a very weird day. They opened a lot higher, went all the way back down, and then came all the way back up. and then closed, and then now they're looking to have another good close today. So MDCO been winning recently. One of the few. Obviously, Starbucks holding strong. A couple other ones holding up relatively high. The market's not giving up. There's Starbucks. Already discussed them fairly in depth today. How's MJ doing? Already at pretty much all-time lows. Looks like 21.99 is the all-time low. We're at 29.92. No major buying volume stepping in as of yet either. A little disturbing on that one. Of course, I guess at this bottom we didn't really have a lot of volume stepping in either. We had kind of a mini down day right there with elevated volume, and then it just started curling higher or moving higher. That wasn't any technical event here. There wasn't major volume spike. The volume spike was the previous day, and they just started buying it up. So I don't know if we're going to get a major event if MJ is going to start reversing higher. It'll just be you'll see a trend for a week or two of straight up days, which is pretty much what we had. And then we ended up with a little flat base right there, just a tiny gain, not even a real flat base. It wasn't a base by IBD standards, but it's about halfway through. Doesn't look like we fully made a measured move out of it. Yeah, I call that a win. That's a win in my book. It got up there. So anytime you're up like 85%, 85% of the full range of the bar here, of the measured move bar, I consider that a win. So not too bad there for MJ previously. But before that, it was really difficult to try to get involved in this move. There wasn't even really, a pocket pivot until these last couple of days, and then we started going sideways, and then we finally popped back up. So, yeah, hard to say this time around what MJ is going to do, but so far we don't have, it's down in the areas where we have reversed in the past. We're really close. Looks like we almost bounced to the penny. Let's go check it out. So what's the low here? 23.01. Our low here is 23.18. So really close to that. Really close to that low over there. Could argue it's another good time to go long this, but with the current market situation, not so sure if I really just want to jump in with both feet. Although I could jump in with half of a foot and just take a small position. It has gotten up to, you can call it 35. You can call it up here, to 35. I won't say relative ease. Actually, I think last time I even looked at doing this, the volatility was just off the charts, and so it just wasn't even worth doing. Let's look at that. Probably will be the same way this time. All right, we're coming up here. MJ up to 35. Is that what we said? Oh, it's actually not too bad. It's actually pretty good from all the way down here. Maybe that's the point. So going out until 2020, or even April, going out to April 2020, need more strike prices to fully know what the hell's going on here. Yeah, you're looking at many strike prices plus 200%. That's up here for a 46% gain in MJ. Although, again, with the market conditions, it's kind of a high risk, high reward. You could take a little bit less risk and go a little riskier. There's actually several strike prices for April of next year, which would lead to April 17th. Lead to that. You would need that type of price action on MJ for that to be a profitable trade. And some of those are, it's like several strike prices around 350%. So you could just take less risk with more profit potentially on that one. But you also run the risk of of not making money at all. So some of these 29.50 break even point right there, exactly actually. So that would be your break even point, 29.50. Something like that. So April, which is about 6 months away, 7, 8 months away. We may have to see some reversals in some individual names to probably make that go away. IBD is sending me an article saying they have Brexit fears. Stock futures fall as yields invert more. Oh, how's my mortgage rates doing here? Got to look at the 10-year Treasury. If you guys have a house and you're not looking to refinance your house, please go ahead and do so. Please just at least look into it. 10-year 146.8. Nice. I've been TAing this chart. I've been looking at refining since this since right there, since that little dip, which was the lowest price, the lowest yield, and then we ended up with the Fed cutting rates over here, and I've just been watching this thing go down. And my technical analysis skills helping greatly with refinancing my house. Fun stuff. How much capital do you need to make a play like that? Well, you don't need a whole lot. So first of all, you need to be options approved inside of your account. Second of all, understand you only have about a 25% chance of actually winning any options trade that you make. Keep that in mind. Please don't just go just don't jump straight into playing options. But yeah, it's actually not complicated to get involved. It can be complicated to make money, however. You really have to know your plan and your exit strategy. That's one of the things, Nick. You've heard me talk about it enough. So if we're looking at April, if you're looking at those April 20s, some of those, let me look at the stock shed application. So the first one with 300, so there's one with 329% gain, which is the 26 strike price. So this $2.10 is per share, so that would be $210. So if you wanted to buy one option, it would cost you $210. So really not that bad. There's no extra margin requirements if you're just buying. Now, if you're going to sell something, that's a whole different set of rules. You need a lot of margin if you're going to sell options. But just buying options is very low barrier to entry. Just lie to your brokerage and tell them, I've been trading options for 3 years. Just lie to them. No one cares. But you really have to hawk the charts and understand exactly what you're doing. It's not something I would recommend you jump into with 2 feet. I would definitely just start out with buying. Just buy one call on a trade or something like that. But really take it very slow and just have fun watching your money evaporate for a while. So. Eli's got a good point. For this particular trade, like I said, the only edge to this trade you have at this point in time is this double bottom holds. That's really the crux of this play, is that this double bottom has to hold. If the double bottom doesn't hold, then obviously it's going to be a pretty nightmarish situation. Pretty much that $210 is going to go away. So, like I said, I really would start out, even with a trade like this, you're like, oh, this is a super good trade. I'm not saying you're thinking that, but this is what I would be thinking. Oh, that's 300%. That's a super good trade. These happen often with options. This isn't something that you have to rush into. This isn't a once in a lifetime opportunity. For this particular setup. You can see 2 and 3 plus 100% opportunities fairly often, as you start to understand. But your tuition for understanding options is extraordinarily high on a percentage basis. So, like I said, play extremely small. Uh, yeah, yeah. So there's the exactly, but that's why um, that's why your analysis has to be right. That's why I say you only have a 25% chance of winning. So what Eli's talking about is time depreciation. Um, so let's just say that one of these options up in here, this one for let's just say you get this one for $1 every single day. For this one, you're going to lose $1 if it does nothing. You're just going to lose $1 every day. So which is equating to $10, right? Since it's $1.10 or $1, you know, one penny here. Let me rephrase that. You lose a penny here for every single day that you hold this option. So yeah, if it doesn't move in your direction by an average of a penny a day, this is just going to expire. If that makes sense. So yeah, we've gone over that a little bit too, I think. But yeah, getting involved isn't too hard. I don't recommend obviously jumping with both feet, but if you want to get educated, you can at least paper trade for a while. I would even rather paper trade than I would actually trade. But if you do want to actually trade and learn that way, which is honestly the best way to learn, like I said, do it with one option. And if the options are like $1,000, maybe don't even trade that one. Really trade with the minimal amount you can. If you've got a decent account and you're not at all uncomfortable with trading $210 or $100, then just buy one call option and just see how it goes. If you're going to do that, we've done quite a few options talks. One thing to keep in mind is the spread between the bid and the ask. Okay, that's always one consideration. Like if you go like MJ here, so at our current price of $23, the strike, we're at 340 and 295. So that's a 45 cent or over 10% spread here on MJ just between buying and selling. So you have a couple things to overcome. You've got the spread to overcome, the commissions to overcome, and then you have the time depreciation to overcome. So those are three major things there versus something like GLD. If you go at the money with GLD, you're looking at a 2-cent spread between 177 and 175. So a 2-cent spread, not nearly is bad as a lot of other options. So GLD is one of those that you can have a little more comfortable in. Like I just placed market orders with GLD. It's not a very tight spread. What are you going to gain? A penny, and you may not get filled. So I just place market orders here on GLD. But if you're to go back to MJ, especially with spreads like this, and you're not really breaking out or something like that, you're really going to have to use limit orders here. And here you're hoping to get filled at probably 3.25, and that's going to take a while to get filled. You're not going to get filled instantly on that one. So it's difficult. But if you want to learn it, just start learning it. Really start learning it, and yeah, you can notice some good opportunities. Not saying this is one that this could be one down at a double bottom level, but I mean it's like I said, there's no clear reason to get into this right now even from a technical perspective. It's just a double bottom. Could it bounce? Absolutely. Could you play really small here? Absolutely. I wouldn't mind a really small play as long as you're fully comfortable with the position. All right, Eli. See you later, buddy. All right, NASDAQ holding relatively higher. Looks like gold's holding relatively lower. On the daily chart, not really posing too much of a risk. We do have some elevated volume, however. All right. I can't use it. There we go. There we go. So gold, a nice move up yesterday. Today we've got a little bit of distribution stepping in. Good move this morning. We'll see how that guy plays out. Two or three times gold like TQQ. Yeah, you know what? I think there's got to be ETFs like that. I mean, really, silver's been the play. We haven't really talked about silver a lot, but I was just informed that silver's been drastically outperforming gold. Silver was up 11% yesterday. Look for silver ETFs. There we go. Top ETFs here. Let's take a look. So SLV, I know we're talking about gold, but SLV is a silver ETF. It's just been on fire. Look at all that volume going into silver. Just a tremendous, tremendous amount of volatility in silver. Also much lower price than gold at 17 versus, what are we at for GLD? Like the 40s or something? But just a straight up ETF. Let's look into gold ETFs. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind that at all. See, the problem with gold is that there isn't a lot of volatility in gold. So when it goes, it tends to go. Everyone just piles into the trade. Okay, so there's UGold, which looks like it's 3 times gold long ETM, UGLD. That's gone from 80 to 150 relatively quickly. 64%. Geez. Very nice. Does this have options on it? No, it does not. So UGLD has a really high expense ratio. Oh, that's 1 day change. Never mind. I thought I saw the expense ratio on here. I guess I don't. UGLD looks like it's 1... and it's the only one on this particular website. Yeah. So it's UGLD, and then if you did want to play silver, so 3 times, which is USLV, which I'm assuming tries to give you 3 times the returns of the SLV. And just here on this leg, it's up 19%, which is pretty awesome, as things tend to happen. But I mean, we're pretty high up here. I mean, we just had four straight days of really good action. GLD not as good, and obviously this is not the 3 times ETF, but we did just have 4 pretty good days on gold here. 1, 2, 3. This is the 4th, although we're red today. So, you know, a pause is probably due of some type. And we're actually getting some mild distribution as we go up, which is, I mean, the most comfortable position to be in, because at least it goes up every other day or something like that. Oh, really? You can trade a silver stock with no commission? Wow. Day trade the crap out of that. All right, so I'm going to get going here in a little bit, guys. We got the NASDAQ flat to slightly down. Again, no major news coming out. We are a very news-driven market, and until we get more news coming out, it's kind of hard to believe we're going to do anything but chop around for a while. Gold's still doing okay. We just learned about silver. I wasn't even thinking about silver. I'm like, I see a great opportunity in gold. I'm just playing gold. So that's kind of, I guess, my game plan at the moment. But yeah, in terms of individual stock names, I mean, Starbucks, just for some reason, it's basically filling out a flat base here, an extraordinarily flat base. This looks very similar to a setup last year in Boeing, or in 2017, that I just made a shit ton of money off of. I bought it right here. I think it was right there. Yeah, I bought it right off of that, and just made so much money with Boeing that maybe Maybe I should look into a very similar Starbucks trade. Has a very similar feel to it if you look at between Boeing and Starbucks. So huge uptrend. This one broke out of this base and went on to go 45% higher. Maybe this would be a nice revisit of the Boeing trade. I never really thought about it that way until just now. Hoo hoo hoo. So from that early, that one's up 75%. There's another base here though. That one rose 33%. So a base here, and definitely following a trajectory that we didn't have until that base fully formed. And then it actually started to accelerate even. So, yeah, actually, now that I think about it in terms of Boeing and Starbucks, if you think about it, maybe quite a few parallels from a individual company perspective. So maybe we will get a nice pop out of Starbucks. So I'll have to check it out and see if there's a trade worth having here in Starbucks. But yeah, I mean, its behavior is just second to none here. Look at just how tight this has been, even as the market's really been just falling apart. Even this correction over here, which was ended in June, started in late April, ended in June. I wasn't really thinking about it in that time. So there's late April and ended in June, and it made money. Starbucks stock gained as this market went into a small correction, and right now holding super tight. So no one's letting go of this stock, and it's only going to be in more and more demand. So maybe one of the stocks of the year right there, to be honest with you. Could be. So we'll see, but that's looking super good. So, all right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.